Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We are backstage with Cindy Rowe, and I am Cindy Rowe with Cindy Rowe Marketing. I have a special guest today, Coach Mike. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. We go back a few years. I was trying to remember actually how we got connected, but I think it was at a networking event. Um, at your work or something like that, and then maybe we got reconnected through another friend or a mutual friend. Is that what you recall?
Yeah. It was. I think it was back in 2017 when I had just left. I had just left college coaching, and I had started working at Oak Strength, and I was their director of sports performance there, and they were looking to really bump up what they were doing with sports performance. They had a good thing going with CrossFit, but they wanted a sports performance component. So came in there and really took my skill set that I had with recruiting, with coaching, everything like that, and we built them up. And they had, I think they had a handful of athletes when we started off, and ended up pulling in a big volleyball club. And they had over when I left there, they had over 175 athletes working with them. So it was pretty cool to see that explosive growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then you left Oak Strength, and is that when you started your company?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
tell
yeah,
everybody what that is, the Forge.
yeah. So yep. So I started the Forge in 2018. It was actually May of 2018. So we're coming up on almost 4 years now, and
Ooh, that's
yeah,
exciting.
it's been great. It's been crazy 4 years. And I tell people, when you count what we built with Oak Strength, and you count what we've done with the Forge, we've rebuilt it 4 times. So it's a lot of learning, a lot of growth. And we're in Knoxville, Tennessee now, and we serve a lot of East Tennessee, the athletes that are here and teams that are here. And so what we primarily do is we get athletes, teams, and we get them faster, stronger, more explosive, and bulletproof. And that's what we do. And here in East Tennessee, we'll do it in person, but we also have a online product that we have, and we have an online athlete product, and also an online adult product that we have, where anybody nationwide can work with us. And we've had families and athletes from thousands of miles away work with us. And what we do is we primarily leverage technology to get them the coaching that they need, and get them the 20 years of coaching experience that I have, and have it at their fingertips. So it's really nice, and it's been a good product for us. It was something that we developed during COVID, and then what we've done is we've just carried it along. And we're actually I took a week, or not a week, I took a year off of working with adults, and just started working with adults this year again, 2022. And I rebooted our product, our online product. And that's kind of like the first step to working with us, is doing this 5 day or 5 week. It's a 5 week jumpstart that we have. And so we do a 5 week jumpstart. We have a 5 day speed challenge. So that's
Cool.
my 5 days, my 5 weeks. You got fives all over the place. So come on.
So it's interesting because you were in Northern Illinois and then you moved to Tennessee. So you had to basically take what you started here and transfer it over there. And at that time, you didn't have the online product, right? So that was rebuild number one or two, right? kind
Right.
of kind of explain that whole process, because that's scary to have to think about, restarting in a new community and rebuilding connections and all that stuff. I mean, like, that is scary enough to start a business, but then to move it. So I kind of share
Yeah.
that experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, developing the products that we develop, and we're always trying to think about how we can have a base product, and how we can scale it up in certain ways. And what we did was we looked at we've got a concept that we have, and I've shared it with a lot of business owners here in Knoxville, but then also back when I was in northern Colorado. And what we have, this concept that we have, and it's a business concept, and it's called the value ladder. And so what we do is we say, if you can take your customer and you can move them up this value ladder that goes with a something that is nothing, something that is either I say no cost or low cost, and then step them to the next step, which for us, like our no cost, low cost, an example of that would be like our speed challenge that we do, where we give you the 5 concepts to getting faster. Another one is we have 4 habits to great health for our adults. We give you the 4 habits. We tell you, we elaborate a little bit on the 4 habits, and you have that information in your hand. Then what we do is we go to the next step, and the next step is either our 5-day speed challenge or our 5-week jumpstart with adults. And so we go to that step, and then the next step from there is doing like in either small group or in-person experience one-on-one. And when we call small group, we call that semi-private. And then the one-on-one coaching is like one-on-one. If we have an athlete, it's one-on-one specialty coaching. If we have an adult, it's one-on-one personal training. And we either do that in a gym setting, or we actually, with our adults, we'll go to their homes and we'll work with them in their homes with it. I've got some football specific athletes that we just train for football. And with them, we meet them at an outdoor location, and then we just train them for roughly an hour. And then, but that's specific training. That's not our broad product that we have with increasing athleticism.
Sure. So the system that you've created is really like the blocks of building a relationship and the trust factor and that expert. Like, yeah, we know what we're talking about. Here's a little nugget, here's a little bit more. And now that you've learned a lot about us and we've taught you something, they're more willing to maybe invest in your services. Is that correct?
Right. You're saying it exactly right. And it's funny that you say it that way, because there's actually somebody who has another business, not even in my vertical, but they have a product. They have the structure that's similar, the ladder product, but they call it their yellow brick road. And so what they're doing is they're working their customers down the yellow brick road, and it starts exactly with the bottom of the ladder and works up the ladder. So it's really interesting. But yeah, you're taking your customer on a journey, and I personally believe that it is customer behavior to be somewhat apprehensive going into it. And hey, like let's spend $50 on this and see what happens. Where we have some clients that are spending $500 to $1,000 with us, and then some clients that are in the beginning stages of working with us. They're looking at hey, I just want to do a trial, and I want to spend $30 for the trial. And it's like, hey, that's fine. And with us, it's I know with what we do, like my biggest thing is follow up, especially when it comes to fitness or when it comes to sports performance with athletes, because with fitness and adults, nobody wants to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. It is not a comfortable subject for them, but they know they need it. With our athletes, there's so much with our athletes of moving in season, out of season, into off season training with their teams. And there's so much back and forth that for myself, I have to have a follow-up system so that I can stay on top of all of these athletes. And they're so busy, families and adults, they're so busy. They're not thinking about me right away. So I have to make sure that I stay top of mind with them, or at least close to the top.
Yeah. So share with the viewers a big success that you've had in the whole transitioning of moving your locations and, becoming well known in your new community.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest successes, and it surprised me when it happened, was when we moved here to East Tennessee. I went to a couple of networking events, and here in East Tennessee, Not saying that it's not that, situation anywhere else, but they're really like parents, athletes, coaches. They're really passionate about their sports and what they do and everything like that. I mean, this is here in Knoxville. It's a college town, so University of Tennessee is here. So a lot of athletes that are looking at that, and it's right here in town. So it's like a target that they can see, and they can go to the games and they can see that. So one of the biggest successes, the biggest surprises was when I got here. I started taking some of the steps that I had done the last 3 times to build where we were at with the 3 times where we were in Northern Illinois with Oak Strength, where we were in Northern Illinois and Southern Wisconsin with my own business with the Forge, and then when we were in Northern Colorado with the Forge, and now here in East Tennessee with the Forge. I took a lot of those steps that I had taken before and instituted them into what we were doing here right off the bat, not even waiting. So the second week we moved here, and it was really, I think it was the 1st of January when we got here. And that second week in January, I was going to networking events. I was meeting people. I was shaking hands. I was just trying to figure out, hey, what coaches do you know? What athletic directors do you know? What team directors do you know? Like, who do you know that you can introduce me to? And we had 2 or 3 business people who knew all of these coaches, and right away they're like, hey, you got to meet this guy. Hey, you got to meet this guy. And so going through the process of actually meeting these coaches happened within the first 2 or 3 weeks. And it's funny, I've got here, I actually did a Facebook Live this morning on this, but I've got my journal here, and this is for the first quarter of 2022, and it's got everything that I did in the first quarter of 2022. Now, every quarter I have one of these journals that I have, and so you can look back in the first quarter of 2021, and you can see everything that I did in January, and it was really getting out to the networking events, trying to meet these coaches. And that second month of 2021, I was actually personally training one of the coaches here, and that he was a cross country coach, and he is a high school cross country coach. Now he's a college cross country coach down the road, and it's like about 45 minutes from here, and he's still connecting me with coaches and with athletes, and he's actually started his own running venture, and what we're looking to do is collaborate on a running and strength type venture together. So it's pretty exciting. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is for any business owners out there, when you get to a new environment, you got to go out right away and you got to start meeting people, and you guys got to figure out how to connect yourself. And my biggest thing is when I talk to people about it, when I talk to other business owners about it, it's like, I'm not trying to pitch that business owner in front of me on my business. I'm just trying to say, who do you know that you can connect me with? That is a coach, that is an athletic director, that is a team director. Who are those people that you can connect me with?
Yeah, I love that advice. For me, networking was key in building my business, especially coming from corporate and coming back into this different environment because I had been outside of the Rockford area for so long. I didn't know all my connections were at different places or whatever. So it was stepping foot into a networking meeting and, meeting new people. And yeah, exactly like what you said, like, who do you know that needs this? Who do you know? And instead of, hey, how can I work with you type of thing, it's like, who do you know? And then connecting the dots. I mean, having people that are connectors in your network are true godsends, actually. I think, and being a connector too, like, who do you need to get in front of, and, kind of repaying that favor of, this is, hey, I know this guy or whatever, you guys need to meet. Now, you had said something about collaboration. Oh, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
I was, yeah.
Okay,
Piggyback on what you said. A book suggestion, and I don't know if you've read it, but The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell.
I have not. It is in my collection though, so
put it at the top of your list, okay? And get it on Audible, listen to it. Okay, so in the tipping point, one part of the tipping point, Malcolm Gladwell talks about connectors, and he has an evaluation that he's done with all of these groups to figure out how good of a connector they are, each one of these individuals, but also groups. And what it is it's a list of surnames, last names, and you're supposed to check off how many of these last names you know in your personal life, whether it's from your past, from your present, and you're supposed to check them off. And the more surnames, the more last names that you know, or people like that, the better of a connector you are, the more you're connected within it. But a story that he talks about is um, uh, the uh, the late night ride of Paul Revere. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's actually two stories within that one story. The one story is of course, obviously Paul Revere, but there was another rider. There's another rider that went out that night also, and went in the opposite direction of what Paul Revere went. Paul Revere was a connector. Paul Revere knew a ton of people, and he was in all of these clubs, organizations. He knew a lot of people along the route that he took. The other person was a rider who wasn't very well known, and he didn't know the connections. He didn't know when he went into the towns exactly who it needed to be spoken to be able to muster all the troops and get all the protections put in place for when the British were coming. So there's two different stories. Paul Revere, the route that he took, all of those towns were ready, and they were ready to go. The other group, the other route that was taken, they weren't as ready as the route that Paul Revere took, and it's just an exemplification of that connector, because he was that connector, and he was able to really work when the time mattered. He was able to make it happen, and the other guy was it's just who he was. It wasn't his fault, but he just wasn't a connector, so his message didn't go as far.
Well, that's a great story, because I mean, and it just, like you said, it shows that how much further ahead you can be when you know the right people, or
Right.
and also like this, connecting other people with the right people too. So
Yeah.
very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, I wrote down tipping point. It will be. It just started a new book, so that will come up to the top.
Yeah, no, it's a great book. It's a great book, and I drive so much that I've gone more to Audible and just listening to them, and so it's been good for me.
So you did mention collaboration, and
Yes.
I love when small businesses collaborate with other small businesses. So share something that you've done that's been, maybe a little bit different, or, just that you make sure that you want to continue doing some type of collaboration. Can you share that with our friends?
Yeah, that's actually an easy one for me. With a lot of the sports organizations that we work with, the big thing with them is fundraising. And so what we do actually is, with our business that we have with the Forge, we have a speed clinic that we do, and we call it a speed clinic fundraiser. And so what we do is we work with athletic departments, we work with travel teams, we work with all these organizations with athletes that want to fundraise and don't necessarily want to sell candy, sell wrapping paper, do that kind of stuff.
Right.
They just don't want to do it. I've got a fundraiser right now where the one sports organization that my kids are part of, they're selling donuts, and I'm like, well, I'm a fitness guy, I can't sell donuts. So what we do, and I've actually talked to them about it. We're talking about getting the wheels turning on this. But what we do is we do our regular speed clinic that we do. And so when I do a speed clinic, I will go to a location. And what we do is it's one of those things, Cindy, where it's it's the first step going up the ladder. And speed clinic's one of them also, where we'll go and we will do a speed clinic and we'll charge $20 just for kids to come in and work with us 45 minutes to an hour. Now, if we have a sports organization that wants to do a fundraiser with us, What we do is we charge that same $20, but what we do is we give part of that to the athletic organization.
Cool.
Yeah, and then now they're able to fundraise. Their athletes are getting better, and it's a win-win. And we're always talking about those within collaboration. It's always got to be a win-win. And
Yeah.
so we're saying, hey, we're going to get your athletes better. We're going to help you raise money too.
And I like how you fulfilled a need. You found a solution to two of their problems.
Right.
Not only getting money, but helping their athletes, which, and then you get in front of, a new audience, most likely. And like you said,
Right.
that's the first step of, hey, this guy really, they know what they're doing. We should probably look into their services a little bit more. I love that.
Yeah. We had an athletic department in Wisconsin 2 years ago. That we actually did a monthly speed clinic, and we did a 4-month deal with them where we came in once a month and worked with their athletes, and they were able to raise money, and we were able to get some good coaching in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what is one lesson that you've kind of learned over the years that, your biggest takeaway of being an entrepreneur or a small business owner that you could share with everybody?
Whew. Yeah, there's so many lessons. I think my biggest lesson, one of the biggest lessons and the best lessons, whether it's been in my college coaching career or whether it's been in business, is take advantage of every opportunity that's given to you. Anytime somebody presents you an opportunity, take advantage of it. Whether it's going to a luncheon with somebody, whether it's just meeting with somebody. I've actually put a huge emphasis on one-to-one meetings this year, just in 2022. And the last quarter, I just went through the first 2 months, January, February, and I had over 50 one-to-one meetings that I had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And now from those one-to-one meetings, I have parents of athletes that are contacting me and saying, hey, so-and-so told me about you. And it was somebody that I met. It was somebody that I met in one of these one-to-one meetings, and it's like, you never know. And I tell people all the time, take advantage of those opportunities. I actually have a presentation that I do for networking, and I have a flow chart that I have that goes from when I got here beginning of 2021, and it goes from when I got here all the way over to some of the teams that I've had and that I've worked with and that I'm still working with now. And it's all different opportunities, and it's all like an example is the one I met an insurance agent one morning at an online meeting. And he's like, hey, I'd love to talk to you after the meeting. Give me a call. I gave him a call after the meeting. And he says, hey, listen, I've got 2 coaches from this track organization that are going to be in my office in about an hour. Do you have time to come over and meet with them? And I was like, yeah. I really didn't have anything on my schedule. And so I was like, yeah, I can come over and meet with them. And so I went over and met with them. And that started one of our relationships with a big track organization here in Knoxville with about 1,800 kids. So,
wow,
just taking advantage of that. And it's like, you never know who you're going to meet that's going to be able to connect you with that next person. And would I know an insurance agent would be able to connect me with those people and then plus a bunch of other people? No, I didn't know that. But, I just, he said, hey, come over here and meet with these guys. And I went over and met with them.
that's awesome. And I was just going to say the same thing. Like, who would have thought that the insurance agent would be the door opener for, a new client for you or a big piece of business potentially?
Yeah. Yeah. Another example of it is I went and did just a 20-minute segment of tryouts for a basketball organization. It was a travel basketball organization. I did 20-minute segment of tryouts for them where I just worked with the athletes. I put that on video, put that on our Facebook, there was a coach of another travel team from about an hour away who saw that video and said, "Hey, we want you to come up here and work with our athletes." And we went up there and we did a 1-day clinic with his athletes, and we have a relationship with them now too. So just being able to take advantage of those opportunities, even if it's only 15 to 20 minutes.
Right.
It's like, hey, let's do it, and let's show them the best that we can show them, and let's put it on tape.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. So the last question before I toss it back to you, but like, what's a piece of advice or words of wisdom that you would give somebody thinking about wanting to start their own business, branching away from the comfort of working for somebody else to starting off fresh?
I think my biggest advice, I guess my advice is, like, you got to think about what you want. You got to think about what you want. And I know your story, and I know my story. And I didn't want a boss, and I know you didn't want a boss.
Right.
I was if I'm going to have a 9 a.m. meeting on Monday morning, it's going to be my meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, if and being on my time and not somebody else's time. But knowing, and I think this is the big thing, is if you're going to start your own business, it's you have to get away from thinking about, hey, I'm going to put 40 hours of work into this, and it's gonna work out.
Right.
40 hours a week, not going to work out. Now I know you're working to this, and I'm working for this, is, hey, yes, I am doing 50, 60 hours of work right now building this business, but in 5 years, I want it to be like 20 or 30 hours.
Yep.
I want to be able to leverage, and in what other mode can you go from 50, 60 hours a week to, now you're working 20 to 30 hours a week. You've learned how to leverage all your time. You've leveraged your product so that your product is giving great service,
Right.
but also maybe you have a couple people that are working with you as assistants, and you've been able to leverage them so that now, and I mean, I know in my situation, I've got 3 kids at home, 11, 9, and 7. And I'm looking for that point in 2 or 3, 4 years where, hey, I'm working less. I have a much more flexible schedule, and I'm able to go to the games. I'm able to coach. I'm actually right now I'm coaching my kid, my 9-year-old, 7-year-old, their coach pitch baseball team. I'm helping coach that. And with my schedule that I have, I'm able to move some stuff around so that I can do that. And that's what I want, to be able to do that. And if my wife needs me to take care of the kids, I want to be able to take care of them. I want to be able to take them to my job. We always talk about this. Hey, take your kid to work day. It's like, well, you know what? I want to take my kid to work day to be every day. Right. And if I want to take my kids to the gym, and I want them to get to know the athletes, get to know the other coaches, if I want to do that, then that's something that I have to do. I have to run. I have to own.
Yep. Yeah,
and being able to do that, but it takes a lot of work. Bottom line, it's going to take a lot of work, and it always, Grant Cardone says, it always takes longer than you think, and I've completely learned that. I've completely learned that over the last 4 years. Every contract that you're looking at, every big team deal that we're looking at, every facility that we're looking at, everything that we're doing is taking longer. It always takes longer than you expect it to be. It always takes longer than what your timeline wants it to be.
Yes, yeah, we all want it yesterday, but
yeah,
it's worth it when it happens, and you can see, things moving in the right direction of where you want it to be. And I mean, that's the exciting part of it. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So
right.
I've really enjoyed being my own boss. Something major will have to happen to actually go back to working for somebody else.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So we're at the point of the show where I like to toss it back to my guests to promote their business however they see fit. Go ahead. Tell everybody about how they can reach you, or how you can help them. And for my local viewers, how they can find you online. And all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So you can find us. I know you have the website on there. I will tell you the website actually takes you to our Facebook page. If you want to see anything that we do, and I'm a visual learner, so I am always promoting most of our stuff through our Facebook page, where you can see pictures of our athletes, pictures of our adults. You can see videos of all of our athletes. I've actually started doing TikTok because
Woo!
I see like the video on that. And I understand I'm trying to reach a cold market with that. So so all the videos, all the pictures, everything like that, it's mainly on Facebook. Or if you can find us on TikTok, it's just The Forge on TikTok. So it's there. But our big thing for most of your viewers, I'm sure, are nationwide. We have the two products that we have that are online products. And the one is the 5-week Jumpstart. And what we're looking to do is we're looking to, with anybody that wants to get into that 5-week Jumpstart, set them on the right course for 5 weeks to get better habits. Also, we give them structure for working out. So like I have had people locally that have bought this, and it's people that have a gym membership, people that have like a clubhouse in their rental community, or people that want to work out from home. And this is perfect for that because I just give them the structure. We also have a movement library that we have where if they look at the program and they don't understand the movement, they can go to the movement library and they can see a video of it. And it's also explained. In full length what we're looking to get out of that movement. So we have that, and it's a 5-week Jumpstart that we do. The other thing is what we do is we also have our online product for athletes. And our online product for athletes is really that first step just to get to know our product. We have a 5-day speed challenge that we do where we send different tips over 5 days on how to get faster. And what we say is, if you don't get faster in 5 days, what we do is we charge $47 for it. We say if you don't get faster in 5 days, then you pay nothing. And that's how confident we are in the product that we have. And as long as I've been doing it, I've actually had athletes get faster in 2 or 3 days. So it's it's a lot of it is just my expertise and like what I know. When parents see it, they're like, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" Or athletes, or coaches, and that 5-day speed challenge it's for coaches, it's for athletes, it's for parents. It's just a good informational product for them. But we have those products, and then that leads into our bigger product. And we've done like remote coaching for full teams where we have had a program for a full team. And we've had we had a lacrosse team last year that we worked with for a full year. They were in Virginia. We were in East Tennessee. And I just kept in contact with the head coach. Probably every 2 weeks we got in contact, and I just said, "Hey, how's it going for you? What questions do you have?" And it was like a consulting deal that we did with them. And we gave them the tools. We said it's plug and play, and let us know if you have questions. And we just maintain contact with them. And then what was really cool is we took with their girls, we remote coached their girls through the summer when they couldn't work with them. So it was really cool.
I love it. I love that you've figured out a way to connect to the masses versus just in your local community. So everybody check them out. The Facebook, the Forge .NOCO, and the website. Coach Mike, it was a pleasure. I learned so much about you and the business and your expertise as far as not just in the coaching aspect, but in business building. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
I know I've got an online networking product that I have coming out too. So I'm pretty excited about that. Just to teach people how to network.
It's necessary.
We'll have to do another call just on straight business and not fitness and sports performance.
I love it. We'll do that for sure. Thank you so much, everybody. It's at the end of the show. Have a great day.
Thanks, Cindy. It was great connecting with you again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.